welcome. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to go ahead and get started. Today's class will be a movement class, sort of a Vinyasa flow, probably a level 1, maybe a gentle level 1, with a focus on hamstrings and hips. You will need some props for today, a couple of blocks. If you don't have blocks, books will work. Just something to extend your grip, make the floor a little more approachable, a blanket or a beach towel, and definitely a strap or a belt. You can use the belt off of a robe or any traditional belt is fine. Again, something to lengthen your grip. If you don't have those ready, pause the video, go grab it. I'll wait. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Come down to a reclined position, lying flat on your back. You can extend those legs out in front of you if that's comfortable for your low back. If it's not, bend into those knees. Take the feet a little wider than the hips and let the knees fall toward each other. Finding any comfortable position. Begin to take a big deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale and release. Again, big breath in through the nose. And exhale, sighing it out. One more time. Giant breath in through the nose. On this exhale, just begin to let go of anything and everything happening outside of this moment. Begin to relax your forehead. Close the eyes, soft and gentle. Separate the teeth, creating a little space between your teeth, a gap between your lips, and let your tongue fall to the bottom of your mouth. Notice that movement, that simple movement, begins to relax the jaw, the cheeks, perhaps even down into the neck. Neck is long, shoulders are heavy. If you find that your shoulders are shrugged up by your ears or pulling away from the mat, lift your chest, squeeze those shoulder blades together, tucking them beneath you, and relax down onto them. Hips and low back are relaxed. Body is heavy. Feet are falling comfortably. Take a moment to just notice. How are you doing today? What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? Starting to establish that connection with your body. This moment is yoga. Very often we think that yoga is the movement, the poses, the asanas. But it's not. Yoga means union. It means to yoke, to find the connection between the mind, the body, and the breath. If you've gotten down here and decided that this moment is what you need today, this is an honest invitation to stay just as you are. If, however, you are ready for a little more movement, take another big deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale and release. Start to bend into those knees if they're not already bent. Taking the feet flat on the floor, walk those feet out until they are mat distance apart. Give the knees a little sway, side to side. Moving like windshield wipers. Allowing this to release the inner thighs, stretch the outer hips, perhaps find some release for the low back. One more time to each side. Bringing those knees back to center. Walk the feet in till they're hip bone distance apart. Pull your knees into your chest, giving them a squeeze. You can roll side to side here or find any other movement that feels good for your body. Keep that right leg pulled in. Extend the left leg all the way down to the floor. Right hand to the right leg. Open the leg to the side. Pausing here and allowing stretch, or if you prefer, if this does not feel good for that hip joint, go ahead and find some circles, a little movement if that feels better for you. If you are making circles, reverse and take it the opposite direction. Bring that knee back to center. Same leg, just switch hands. Left hand to the knee, right arm comes out at shoulder height. Take the knee across the body, finding a twist. Shoulders are pressing against the mat. Left leg is straight. Starting to breathe into that twist, getting longer on the inhale, and perhaps letting that leg sink a tiny bit deeper on the exhale. One more breath here. Inhale, bring that knee back to center, pull both knees in, give them a little squeeze. Switching sides, left knee stays in, right leg extends straight all the way down to the floor, left hand to left knee as you open it to the side. Finding stillness or perhaps making circles. Your right hand can come down onto that right hip flexor. It's not really pushing, you're just using that as a gentle reminder to keep the hips flat. Take those circles in reverse, going the opposite direction. On your next inhale, bring that left knee back to center, switch hands, left arm comes out at shoulder height, finding your twist. Again, shoulders are flat and pressing against the mat. It doesn't matter how far down the knee goes, you're just looking for some twist through the spine, perhaps a tiny bit of stretch over the outside of the left hip. Inhale, coming back to center, pull both knees into your chest, giving them a little squeeze and grab that strap. Take a minute, hook the strap around the ball of the right foot and then adjust it, looking for something that's kind of equal distant on either side. Once again, extend that left leg straight and all the way down to the floor. The right foot is active, pressing through the ball of the foot, toes are pulling back towards your face. Start to pull that right leg towards you gently, keeping the knee as bent as you need to protect the back of the knee so you don't want to lock the leg out and hyperextend. Looking for a stretch to the right hamstring, gentle stretch. You can have your hands way, way, way up here and start to pull it down, or if you prefer, just release the elbows to the floor, taking a longer grip. Holding on to the strap, take both sides of the strap into the right hand. The left arm comes out again at shoulder height for a counterbalance. As you open that right leg to the right, inhale, bring that leg back to center, switching hands. Right arm comes out, taking the left leg across the body, finding some movement. For this pose, we are holding the shoulders and the hips towards the floor. So this is not a twist. You're just stretching the outer right leg. And switch that back to center, trading hands. Right hand, left arm comes out. We're just finding some movement. Inhale, back to center, switching hands again. One more time, switch hands, take that out to the right. Inhaling back to center. Give that one more little pull. And release that strap, bending into both knees. Give the knees a little squeeze. Switching sides, take the strap around the ball of the left foot, extend your right leg straight and down toward the floor, then release that left leg toward the sky. Taking a short hamstring stretch. Both feet are active, pressing through the balls of the feet. Looking for those happy yoga toes. This protects your knees. Take both sides of the strap into the left hand, right arm out at shoulder height. Take that leg open to the left. And inhale back to center, switching hands. Left arm out at shoulder height. Take the leg across the body, stretching into that outer left hip and thigh. Inhale back to center, switching hands. Right arm comes out, left leg opens. Inhale, switching hands again. Left arm out at shoulder height, taking the leg across. Inhale, back to center. One more time. Open that left leg to the left. Inhale, back to center. Give it a gentle pull. Not the deepest hamstring stretch you've ever done. Just starting to feel a gentle stretch there. Bending into both knees. Release the strap. Set it aside. We'll come back to that later. Pull those knees in, rolling side to side. Maybe giving those legs a little circle. Finding some movement in the hips. Anything that feels good here. Pull your knees in and rock your way up to a seated position. If your back is cranky, roll onto your side and press up. Find any comfortable seat. Make sure you're firmly on the sit bones. If this is not a happy place for you, grab a blanket. Sorry, hiccups. These are recorded live, so we have human moments. I apologize for that. Sit up onto the blanket and then scoot forward till you're half on, half off. Looking for a little lift in the tailbone, changing the angle of the pelvic girdle. Taking that tall seat, start to roll out those shoulders, finding some movement. You can do big circles, small circles, one at a time, two at a time, do a little jazz dance, whatever you like. Reverse, taking the circles the opposite direction. Coming to stillness, inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to chest, stretching the back of the neck. Inhale, the hands back up and overhead. Right hand comes down, left arm reaches up and over, pressing that left hip down toward the mat as you extend through the left side body. Maybe turn your head and look up underneath that left arm. And inhale, both hands back to center. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to chest. Inhale, hands above the head. Exhale, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. As you walk those left fingertips out, keep pressing that right hip toward the mat. Turn and look up under the right arm. And on your next inhale, hands back to center. Exhale, release those hands down beside you. Sitting up nice and tall, reaching the hands behind you, attempting to find a clasp. The clasp, we're not looking to necessarily get that grip. Whether you can grip or not doesn't matter. The goal here is to pull the shoulder blades together and open through the chest and perhaps start to lift the hands away from the low back. If this movement is not comfortable for you with your hands clasped, grab that strap. Lengthening your grip, finding a little extra room, focusing on that chest opening and pulling the hands away. If you do take the clasp, notice which thumb is on top. There's no right or wrong, just notice. You can stay here or perhaps hinging from those hip flexors, start to fold over the legs. You should have a little bit of stretch in the glute, the booty, on whichever leg you have in front. Again, it does not matter which leg that is. Lowering those hands against the back, pull the belly button into the spine and bring the body upright. Release the clasp, roll the shoulders. Lean back, switching the cross of the leg so the opposite leg is in front. Sitting up nice and tall. Bring those hands behind your back and change the clasp. Whichever thumb was on top before, go ahead and switch to the opposite side. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, sliding them down the spine. Pull the hands away from the low back, finding that chest and heart opening. And then exhale, hinging from those hips as you fold over the legs. Lowering the hands against your back. Core pulls in as you bring that body upright. Release the clasp. Roll out the shoulders. Coming to stillness, take the right hand to the left leg, left hand to the floor behind you. Pushing into that hand, lengthening through the spine. On the inhale, get taller. And on the exhale, twist a little deeper. Taking full breaths. Make sure you don't shorten your breath. With compression on the diaphragm and a twist, we tend to take shallower breaths. Take those full breaths. Feel how the air moves through your body. Releasing that back to center, switching sides. Left hand to the right leg, right hand to the floor behind you. Finding the length first, getting taller on the inhale, and then twisting on the exhale. Shin begins parallel to the floor, in line with the sternum, making sure that twist initiates in the spine, and then you can turn your head and look out over the right shoulder if that's available to you. Release that back to center. You can either roll over the ankles or swing the legs around, coming onto hands and knees. We're not going to be on our hands and knees long. We are going to get moving. However, if you have a thinner mat or cranky knees, adjust the clothes too while you're there. If you have a thinner mat, grab that blanket or beach towel and slide it under your knees, giving yourself just a little extra cushion. Finding neutral, shoulders directly over the wrists, knees directly under the hips. Inhale, lengthening through the front of the body, lifting the chin and chest, focusing on pushing the floor away and finding length here. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, pulling the belly button into the spine, trying to move through every vertebra. Inhale, tailbone lifts, chin and chest rise, finding that length. Make these movements deliberate. Don't just sink into the low back. Keep pushing the floor away, finding that length. Exhale, tailbone tucks, belly pulls in. One more time. Inhale, dropping that belly, lifting the chin and chest. Exhale, tailbone tucks and the belly pulls in. Coming back to neutral. Shoulders are directly over the wrists, so walk those hands forward just 2 or 3 inches, taking the arms at an angle. Knees are still hip bone distance apart. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, pressing the chest back toward the thighs. Starting to straighten out the legs as you release your heels toward the mat. Finding a down dog. If this is your first down dog of the day, find that movement, pedaling out those feet. Letting this feel good. Head is loose, fingers are comfortably wide, pressing through every knuckle of the palm so you're not just sinking into the heels of the hands. Find stillness for one breath. Everything is active and engaged, pushing the floor away, chest presses back, heels release. One full inhale, and exhale. Maybe pick one hand up and slide that blanket out of your way. On your next inhale, coming up onto the tippy toes, bend the knees, look between the hands and step to the front of your mat. Inhale, half lift, back is flat. Exhale, folding in, belly to thighs. Bend those knees deeply, sweeping the arms up and overhead as you rise to standing. Exhale, release your hands down beside you, coming to your mountain pose, Tadasana. Finding the engagement. Lift the toes, pressing through the four corners of the feet. Start to draw the energy up the legs as if you're lifting the kneecaps. Thighs engage, muscles are nice and firm and active. Belly pulls in, shoulder blades squeeze toward each other, and then slide them down the spine, reaching the hands toward the floor, relaxing the toes without letting your body rock forward. Keep that activity, that level of engagement. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinging from the hips, we forward fold, nice flat back. Exhale, half lift. Again, back is flat, hands are on something, shins, knees, thighs, whatever works to get your back flat. Exhale, folding in, planting those hands, stepping your right foot back. Right hand under right shoulder, left arm opens for a twist. that left hand down to the floor. Spin and drop the back heel. Heels are in line with each other. Belly button pulls in. Front knee is directly over the front ankle as you rise up for our warrior two. Your back foot is flat and sideways. That does not mean parallel to the back of your mat. You might need to lift those toes and turn them forward just a little bit. You are looking for the angle that keeps the hip flexor, the knee, and the toes all pointing the same direction. Front knee is over the ankle. Body is facing sideways-ish. You might have a little angle coming off those hips. Reach those arms out, parallel to the floor. Turn and look out over the left middle finger. Finding strength. We're not collapsing into this. We're not surfing. You want to find everything active. Draw the heels toward each other, feeling the inner thighs engage. Holding strong. Inhale, flip those palms to the ceiling, bring the hands up overhead as you straighten your front leg. Lowering the hands down to your hips for a moment, take a look at your feet. We have a nice long stance here. You might need to lift the back foot, just scooch that heel and bring the toes forward. Finding one little shift, taking just a couple inch shorter stance. Reaching those arms out nice and long, looking out over the left middle finger. Your front leg is active, so you're not locking out the front knee. Shift the hips back, reaching out through the left hand like you're trying to touch the wall across the room from you, getting as long as you possibly can. Lower that left hand, back of the hand comes against the inside of the leg. Shoulders stack. Your right hand can come to the hip or perhaps reach straight up out of the shoulder socket. You can stay looking at the ground or perhaps turn your head and look up at the right fingers. This is a good time to grab a block as well. Taking the block under your left hand. Finding that balance point, keeping the shoulders and hips stacked on top of each other. The belly is flat and facing a wall. One more breath. If you are gazing up, turn and look down at your front foot. If you have a block, bending into that front knee, set the block aside. Everyone bend in the front leg and rise up. Warrior two. Cartwheel those hands down, framing the front foot as you spin high on the back toes. Walk the hands forward, push off the back foot, bring it to the front of the mat to meet the left. Inhale, half lift, back is flat. Exhale, folding in, belly to thighs. Step the left foot back. Coming into your lunge on this side. Left hand directly under left shoulder. Right arm opens for a twist. Shoulders are in line. Bring that right hand back down to the floor. Spin and drop that back heel. Heels are in line with each other. Front knee is over the front ankle as we rise up for our warrior two on this side. Take a moment and check the back foot. Flat and sideways. Toes pointing just a tiny bit forward as you reach out long through those arms. Looking out over the right middle finger. Engagement here. Core is still drawing in. Heels are drawing toward each other. Finding a sense of strength. Warrior is a power pose. Feel strong. Bringing those hands, flipping the palms to the sky. See, I know what I did. Inhale, sweep those arms up and overhead as you straighten that front leg. Lowering the hands down to the hips. Shift that back foot forward, just an inch or two. Finding that shorter stance. Shift those hips out, reaching out long through your arms. Right hand reaches across to try and touch the wall. Lower that right hand against the inside of the leg. Top hand to the hip, or perhaps straight up out of the shoulder. Finding your breath here. Body is strong and active. You can always grab a block under that right hand. Perhaps turn and look up at the left fingers. One more breath. Turn and look down at your right foot. Set the block aside if you need to. Bending into that front leg. Cartwheel the arms up. Warrior two. Slow and controlled. Lower those hands down to frame the front foot as you spin high on the back toes. Push off that back foot, walking the fingertips forward. Bring the back foot to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding in, belly to thighs. Bend those knees deeply. Sweep the arms up and overhead, rising to standing. And exhale, release your hands down beside you. Shaking everything out for just a moment. And do the Tadasana. Adjust everything. Standing nice and tall. Inhale, sweep those arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge from the hips and forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding in, plant those hands. Step your right foot back. Coming into a nice deep lunge, take a moment and grab a blanket. Slide the blanket under your back knee. Scoot that foot back even more. Drop your right knee down onto the blanket and grab your blocks. Sinking your hips toward the floor, rising up onto your fingertips. Stretching into the front of the right leg, into that hip flexor. Taking a breath here. The goal here is simply to drop the hips and feel the stretch. If you're up here and that feels good for you and you have a stretch to the front of the leg and into the thigh, that's perfect. Does not matter how low the hips go, you're just looking for a stretch to the front of the right leg. Shifting those hips back. Stop when your right hip is directly above your right knee. Walk the blocks back under the hands. Scoot your left foot forward and then straighten that leg, pulling the toes back towards your face. Lengthening through the crown of the head. Back is nice and straight. Block adjustment. You want to be on your fingertips. If that means the blocks are up here, you are looking for a position that keeps on the fingertips, back nice and straight, adjusting the blocks as needed until you find what works for your body. You want to avoid this. I can bring my hands all the way to the mat, but I tend to round into my spine. I have shorter arms, so look for the position that keeps that back straight. If you have enough stretch to your hamstring, stay here. If you need more, hinging from those hips, start to fold over that straight leg. Your left hip is pulling back, right hip is pulling forward. Trying to look for neutral, stretch to the hamstring. One more breath. Inhale, rising up on those fingertips. Start to pull that left foot back, bending into the front knee. Setting the blocks aside. I'm going to turn forward so you guys can see what I'm doing with this next piece here. Start to scoot that left foot forward once again, coming back into your half split. And then start to walk it a little more forward. Bring the left hand inside the left leg. Take the left foot off the side of the mat. We're no longer neutral. There's a little bit of hip opening here, and that's okay. Maybe take that left foot a tiny bit more forward. Coming into as much of a split as your body will allow. It does not matter how deep that is. Turn the body to the right. And now walk your hands forward, not down. We're not coming deeper. We're bringing the body forward so we can take the belly down onto the mat. You just took the stretch out of the hamstring and into the inner thigh on that left leg. This should feel good. Another option. If you do not get all the way to the floor comfortably, you can take a pillow or a bolster and bring it under the belly. Finding the stretch to the inner thigh that way. Wherever you are, this should actually be comfortable. You should not be miserable for this pose. Finding your stretch. Take a little rest here. Rest your head. Slow your breathing. Make sure your breath is still nice and steady. One more full breath here. Bringing your hands right beside your chest on the next inhale. This is the hard part. Start to dig into that left heel. Pull your belly button to your spine and push into the palms, bringing the body upright. Scooting that left foot back, walking it back into center so that you are framing your front foot back into that low lunge. I'm going to turn around. Tuck the back toes, lift the back hips, walk those hands forward, push off your right foot and bring it to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding in, planting the hands, switching sides. Left leg scoots way back. Adjust the blanket so it ends up under your left knee. Drop that left knee down onto the blanket. Grab your blocks. Blocks are framing the front foot, rising up onto the fingertips, sinking those hips toward the floor. Even here, pulling the right hip back and the left hip forward. So you're not really doing much here. It's an engagement. It's a drawing the hip back, trying to keep those hips as neutral as possible as you stretch into the front of the left leg. One more breath. Shifting those hips back, stopping when the left hip is directly over the left knee, walking the blocks back under the hands. Scoot the right foot forward. Pull your toes back towards your face, digging that right heel into the mat and drawing it back to prevent yourself from locking out that front knee. Finding a little bit of engagement. Rising up onto the fingertips, adjusting the blocks. Where it works for you to stay on the fingertips with a flat back. Right hip is still pulling back, left hip is pulling forward. And if you need more, hinge from those hips and fold over the front leg. Finding the hamstring stretch. This part should feel good. One more breath. Inhale, rising up onto the fingertips, start to pull that right foot back until you can take the foot flat. Knee comes over the ankle. Set your blocks aside. Framing that front foot. Start to scoot the right foot out to the side, taking the hand inside that right foot. Take the right foot all the way off the mat and slide it forward. Back to our half split. Keep moving that foot forward, finding your way into as much of a split as your body will allow. Take the body to the left. Walk those hands forward, coming down onto your belly or bolster or blanket. And find a comfortable position. Take a minute and steady the breath. On your next inhale, bring those hands right beside your chest. Lift that belly button, pulling it into the spine. Dig into that right heel as you push into the palms, bringing the body upright. Draw that right foot back, scooting it back into the middle of the mat, framing that front foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Walk those hands forward, pushing off the back foot, bring it to meet the right. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding in. Bend those knees, sweep those arms up and overhead, rising up to standing. Exhale, release your hands down beside you. Come on down to seated on your mat. We're going to take a moment and set up for Shavasana. Make sure you have everything that you're going to want available. Grabbing bolsters, blankets, holding on behind the thighs. Start to roll down onto the mat until you are laying flat on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take the arms out wide at shoulder height, cross the right leg over the left, Shift your hips to the right, let your knees fall to the left, finding a short twist, releasing your back, releasing all the work, steadying the breath. Inhale, bring that knee back to center, uncross the legs. Shift the hips to neutral, going the other direction. Left leg over the right, hips to the left, knees to the right. Finding your twist on this side. Let this part feel delicious. Inhale. Bring those knees back to center. Uncross the legs. Shift the hips to neutral. Pull your knees into your chest, giving them a little squeeze, rolling side to side. Maybe even bringing those hands beside the hips and making circles with your knees. Perhaps you even want to pull those knees in and reach the feet to the ceiling. Arms inside the knees, hands to the outside of the feet as you pull the knees down. Finding a little happy baby, rolling side to side here. Anything that feels good for your body, any last movements you need. Pull those knees in one more time. Take a big, huge inhale. And exhale. Release. Setting up for your Shavasana, finding whatever's comfortable, maybe a towel over your eyes, a blanket under your neck, bolster under your knees. Anything that allows your body to be completely at ease for the next 5 to 6 minutes. I will bring you back out of Shavasana, so don't worry about setting an alarm. It will be quiet during this time. But I will bring you back before we're done. Take a big, huge breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale, and sigh it out. One more time. Big, giant breath, feeling everything lift and expand. Exhale, opening your mouth, letting go of everything you no longer need, anything that doesn't serve your best good. Let the breath return to normal without control. The body is heavy, the mind is quiet as you enjoy the next few minutes in stillness. Staying just as you are. Begin to take a deeper inhale. Using the breath to draw the awareness back into the body. Becoming more present, sensing the room around you. Becoming more aware with every breath. Start to wiggle the fingers and toes, rolling out the wrists, finding some gentle movement. Take a moment and stretch long. Reaching up overhead, stretching out through the fingers and the toes, like you're just waking up in the morning. Let the body get long, the back lift. When you're ready, pull those knees into your chest, giving them one last little squeeze. Either rolling onto your back and pressing up or rocking directly up, make your way to any comfortable seated position, keeping the eyes closed or soft, the focus turned inward. Bringing your hands to heart center, thumbs against the sternum. Coming full circle back to the beginning of class. Noticing how you feel. It is always my hope that you leave any yoga class, whether online or in person, no matter the teacher, feeling a little lighter, a little stronger, perhaps a little better than when you came in. I thank you so much for joining me. I bow to you. Namaste.